Whoa. Hey everyone, welcome to the Bangers, Bops, and Banter podcast. We're recording on election day, so this is gonna go well. Um, I'm one of your hosts, Joe. I'm here with Brendan and
Hi, I'm your other host, Brendan.
then Kobe.
I'm Kobe, and I woke up screaming.
Ah, yes, the natural
nice.
state of everyone.
Unrelated.
Well, how's everyone feeling?
Well, it's been a week.
It has.
Yeah.
I'm doing okay. I think today can be kind of summarized. Today, this past little while, this little stretch of time, can be explained really well by a story I have about my English professor today, and it's really brief. I will make it as brief as I can because I know we actually have stuff on the docket to talk about. So I was sitting in my English classroom because that class is all remote, but I still sit there on Tuesdays because I have a class before that, so I have to be on campus for it. So I just, I occupy an empty classroom. That day, I was sitting flush to today. I was sitting flush to the wall, same wall that the door to the room is in. My professor opens the door. He walks to the computer, sets his stuff down, goes on the computer. He has a mask on. I couldn't tell if I assumed he'd noticed me, so I'm not making any noise, but I'm just looking at him. He doesn't say anything. He's just kind of walking. I'm like, okay. He's doing his thing. I kind of exhale and I tap on the table, and he looks upward as if the noise is coming from the floor above him. And I go, okay. And then I kind of cough, and he looks at me and he jumps. And I don't know. That was just a funny anecdote. You can cut that out. That wasn't funny, but you get the idea. That's how I'm feeling.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think the fact that you said it is the funny part, and how it has nothing unrelated to just anything.
That's how I feel, though.
Just looking at things and jumping. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a generalized fear.
Everyone,
there's a generalized fear. There's an energy in the air that's indescribable until you can see it.
Yeah.
You can see energy?
Yeah, you can see energy. You can see the exertion of energy.
Wow.
I guess.
That's not
I guess fire is energy.
Yeah.
So you can see fire.
Yeah, you can see exertions of energy all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
I'm not a science major. I'm not a dork.
Wow.
Yeah.
Making us feel like dorks over here.
Hey, dork.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're uninvited to my podcast.
Take off the poncho and then talk to me.
No.
Should we fucking
Poncho's comfortable.
Yeah.
You look so stressed.
Yeah, I am. I should say we're currently recording this at 10:30 at night, so yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of results haven't come in still,
really well,
and
though.
it's not gonna. What?
The mustache you got going on?
Oh yeah,
it's looking real good.
It's coming in real well.
It's doing nice. Yeah.
Folks at home can't see it, but it looks good.
The folks at home can't see it, but he turned on his camera and looked so fucking stressed. He turned on his camera and he did the gesture that your dad does when he's disappointed in you, and I know we've all seen that one, where he grabs the bridge of his nose and then kind of extends the fingers out to the eyebrows and stuff. That's the first thing he did while turning on his camera, folks. That's the energy that we're creating right now in this room.
Yeah, no, this is a bad idea to record today. We should have recorded yesterday, but I had stuff to do, so...
It's okay. We're here now.
Yeah, we're here now.
We're going to bang this one out, folks.
And
by this time next week, fate will have been decided.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yep.
Fuck.
Yep.
Anyway.
You guys picking a fun movie to watch next week? Because this movie's not... It's good. It's not fun.
Yeah.
I actually have a friend who sent in some recommendations, so
okay.
I'm thinking what we have for next week should be pretty fun. It looks like.
Do you have an album recommendation too?
Yeah.
Or okay. Sorry, I'm just I don't know.
What did you want to do?
If you
something?
didn't, I was just gonna go like for a Rage Against the Machine album. 'Cause I'm in that mood.
That's a good idea.
That would be fun.
That's a good idea. That's very apropos. Joe is white as a sheet, ladies and gentlemen. He's
Yeah, I
whiter.
am.
He's whiter
Wow.
than his wall right now. He blends in.
Wait, can you see? Yeah. Ooh. I glow.
Beautiful.
This podcast is not, and I don't know if it ever will be translated into a visual medium. You're missing something by looking at the exasperation and exertion that it's taking for Joe to just stay in the call right now.
I'm very stressed.
That's what
anyway.
we're trying to say. Yeah.
So, oh yeah, I should say what we're doing on the show.
Yeah.
There's music and movie news. I didn't get any music and movie news. I can look at some right now, like quickly. We're gonna do.
Lil Pump was on stage with Trump. That's the only.
Oh
thing
yeah,
I heard
a
this
little
past
pimp.
week.
They called him Little Pimp.
Pimp.
They called him Little Pimp. I saw that.
Oh my god.
So funny. You know, I just found out like a minute ago. You know, Lil Pump is 5 years younger than me, or 5 days younger than me, I should say.
He's
not
5 days.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
I was like,
Not
he's
six.
really
I was
young
like,
then.
He's
He's
not.
5 days younger than me,
Damn.
which is so weird to me. I don't have face tattoos that you know of.
Damn.
I've seen
had
you.
them.
I've seen your face.
I had them well.
Yeah.
I guess we can go over like a little bit of music news.
Sure.
First, Cardi B has called off her divorce from Offset. Oh, cool.
She did take him back.
Are you allowed?
Oh, wow.
Are you allowed to have take-backsies on divorces?
Yeah, she's went to dismiss the case.
Good for her.
Yeah. Do I have anything else? I'm just
Nothing
scrolling through
really.
Pitchfork right now. I usually prepare all this stuff way in advance, but yeah, I don't know. There's some albums that released this week. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You want to fill the
I wanna
space by
say-
just like. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, do you want me to say the albums or something? Because like, there's an Ariana Grande album. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a 10 Tricks Point Never album that came out. It's cool. Yeah. Oh, there's also a Sun Ra Orchestra album that came out. It's cool.
Nice. I was gonna say,
Alright.
all I was gonna say was, to fill the space, because this is very clearly a high energy moment in time right now. I was gonna say what we could do is, besides the album that we listened to this week, what is an album you listened to this week that you've been jamming out to besides the one that you were contractually obligated?
I can do this.
Like one album you listened to that like you kind of started, you were like, yeah, fuck yeah, and you kind of had it on repeat for a second there.
Yeah, the new Food House album that dropped. It dropped on like Thursday. Food House is a collaboration between Guppy and Fraxium, who are hyperpop artists. New Food House album, so fun. It's a lot of memes, but it's really fun, really bouncy.
Nice.
I've been playing it like at least once a day
Fuck
since
yeah.
it dropped on Thursday. So
Fuck yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I guess I've been jumping around a lot. I've been listening to quite a bit of Converge. I think I've been mainly listening to You Fail Me. Then also Fishman's, both Long Season and their final album, the album after Long Season. And I don't know. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I finally got through The Ooze by King Cruel today, because every
Ooh.
now and again I'll pick up King Cruel and I'll be like, every now and again he'll hit a note that like makes sense on a scale, and then he stops. The Ooze is a very, very, very fun record. I really liked it. It was great. A lot of really fun moments on it. There's a lot of jazzy moments on it I loved.
Nice.
And I finally listened all the way back through The Fall by Gorillaz, which now I realize is a very, very good Gorillaz record, and I kind of shit on it before, and I realize that's not very fair. It's a great record.
It is very good. I will agree.
It definitely has its moments.
You know?
It's not what this
I
podcast
enjoy
is going to be about, but okay.
It would turn this into a Gorillas podcast now.
Yeah, you should.
You guys you can just go through the Gorillaz discography.
Yeah, okay. So let me go through. I'll just say my opinion on each of the albums. Let me
Okay. Give like a sentence or less.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mediocre, great.
You want to say the albums you're talking about?
No, I'm just going. I'm going in order.
With the only studio
amazing.
albums.
Good. Fucking piece of shit.
Oh no, we are having some technical
I'm joking. I
difficulties.
know which one you're talking about. You're talking about Humans. I know.
Pretty decent.
That one's about
and then no. Please no. And then okay.
You had a whole episode dedicated to how shitty Humans.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I own it on vinyl now.
I'm really happy. I'm proud of you.
No.
You bought Humans by Gorillaz before I bought Neutral Milk Hotel.
Hey.
That's so. I don't know why, but that's a funny benchmark to me. The fact that you're more likely to spend money to torture yourself with music than I am to spend money on an album that I really enjoy.
It's okay. You'll get there one day.
I will.
I too bought Neutral Milk Hotel. It's in the Airplane Over the Sea on vinyl a while ago. So one day you'll be in my shoes buying Humans.
I pray to God that I never get there. If I ever get there, they'll be scooping me off the fucking pavement.
One day, Kobe is gonna turn into Mike and really enjoy Humans.
To Mike? Oh my God, Mike likes Humans.
Like, guys, it's not that bad.
Mike is our gorilla stan of the.
He's not a
podcast
gorilla
guests.
stan. He likes humans. Let's really kind of put a finer point on this. He's not a gorilla stan. He likes humans.
No, he is a gorilla stan. That's
he likes
gorilla
all
stans
gorillas.
like humans. Yeah,
gorilla stans don't like humans.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Gorillas aren't on that album.
That's right. I agree.
All right. So what album are we talking about today?
I should have introduced the album and movie we talked about, or we watched and listened to, and are going to talk about.
I stared at the Alt J album that we were listening to. I just stared at it.
Yeah, we're listening. We're reviewing An Awesome Wave by Alt J, their debut 2012 record, kind of like an indie pop album. And then we're talking about the film The Spirit of the Beehive, directed by Victor Erice?
I think it's Erice.
Erice. Yeah.
Where would you like to begin?
Anyways,
An awesome wave. That's what I wish was happening this election.
The name.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
We were told explicitly not to make comments about politics.
Brendan told you not to do that.
We agreed last week we weren't gonna do that, Joe.
No, we didn't.
You
we literally did
right?
not.
You can cut this out. This is how the sausage gets made, folks. They were screaming at each other before the podcast started. They hate each other in real life. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You don't see the behind the scenes.
You don't see.
Yeah, I was yelling at the top of my lungs at Brendan.
Yeah, Joe has a black eye right now.
How did I get a black eye?
It's unrelated. You fell. It's not related to this.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, An Awesome Wave. You think what inspired this album name was like they were like saying goodbye to someone, and that person was like waved goodbye like really, really well.
You think so?
Just like an awesome wave.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Damn.
I have no idea. I haven't looked.
I got it. I'll look it up.
What the
I'll look it up right now.
About the album, so I have no idea.
I'll look it up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
I'll look it up right now. Hold on. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
You got it?
I got it. I'm finding it. The title is a reference to a quote from the 2000 American-Canadian film American Psycho.
Well, I've never actually seen American Psycho.
Wait, is it really?
It's what the Wikipedia page says.
What quote is it a reference to?
Presumably one where they say "awesome wave."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
You don't remember in the hit film American Psycho when Christian Bale looks at the camera and he says, "This is just like the 2012 studio release by band Alt J, an awesome wave." You remember that?
That 6-year in the future foresight that they had when making American
American
Psycho.
Psycho came out in 2006.
No, 2000.
Oh,
2000? Oh my god.
Yeah.
12-year foresight. I was 6 years off.
it's a good movie.
It is. I need to rewatch it.
Every time I watch it, I've watched it with a friend a couple times, and every time they look at me and they go, "So what am I supposed to do with that ending?" And I'm like, "Well, there's multiple ways to look at it. It depends on what you thought the rest of the movie. To be honest with you, if you have it as the takedown of the rich and wealthy, as I think it was originally intended in a novel format, then you could take it literally, or you can also take it. The whole thing's a dream vision.
Yo, why Patrick Bateman in SJW though?
What? What? You can't kill a cat. What do you mean?
Yeah, no. Fuck it. This is like such a fucking niche reference to a meme I saw on like a tiny subreddit. Because there's multiple times throughout the film where like he's talking with like rich, like other rich elite people, and he's spouting like bullshit, or like he's like actually virtue signaling.
Yeah.
In those scenes, and it's just like, here, I'll just fucking get the image. People who are listening, I'm sorry. That's the wrong subreddit.
We can cut all of this out.
Yeah, we can.
Based on the...
That would require me to put in effort.
Yeah, okay.
Ooh. No, I'll do
creaky
it.
bones.
Don't worry.
Where the fuck? Man, keep talking anyway. I'll find it.
And awesome.
All right, and the Alt J album. I want to introduce them a little bit. This album, I listened to this album sometime early this year. I think a couple months ago for the first time. And on my first listen to it, I honestly wasn't that impressed. There was a couple songs that I really enjoyed, like Tessellate and Matilda. But for the most part, I thought this album sounds like it's very drenched in indie, you know? It's kind of hard to explain, but like a lot of the sounds it uses, like they kind of like the percussion on a track like Breeze Blocks, and the lead singer's vocals and stuff like that are very they're very like in that indie style, and for the most part I just wasn't that keen on it. However, I must say, going back to it, listening to it a little bit more, the kind of chill aspect of this album has definitely grown on me. I do think, and especially also the lead singer's voice has also grown on me a little bit. It's kind of odd, I think, when you first listen to it, but give it some time, give it a couple listens, and I think this album can make a better impression. I just want to say that
it has a very chill vibe for the most part, I'd say. I think it definitely takes its kind of indie inspirations, or indie, like, it takes its indie sound and then like, I wouldn't say it's like groundbreaking, but it turns it into like this very relaxing wave of an album.
Whoa.
Thank you. I'll be here next week, because that's how the podcast works.
You can end the episode now.
Damn.
No, I'm just saying that's the joke it's got to end on. That's the closer.
That's a low bar for a closer.
Well, I mean, what last time I was here, what did we talk about? What were we doing last week? The last time I was here, we started talking about penguins of Madagascar. You got up at one point, and Joe started like screaming at me about the penguins of Madagascar.
How many
Probably.
weeks in a row have I heard the Penguins of Madagascar joke at this point? It's been a while.
We're not going to get him started on penguins of Madagascar again, right?
No, I would rather not.
So anyway, penguins
Gone.
are or wait, no.
Talking about an awesome wave
what
by
do you
LJ.
It's just
about
Madagascar.
how Mort is a god? Like, what are your opinions on it?
I remember him being
his
more
name
of
is Mort, so.
I remember him being more of a devilish force.
No, he is a literal god. I'm not even joking.
I thought
It's
he was some sort of demonic instrument.
No, he literally is an immortal being who has the power to suck the souls out of other immortal beings and take their power. I'm not even
more
fucking
demonic.
joking.
It sounds
I'm not
extremely
even
demonic.
joking.
It sounds extremely demonic.
It kind of is, but oh my god, I found it. One sec.
Well, I mean, are demons not just God in different forms? You know,
Here.
if God created everything, didn't He also like have to create demons and stuff? So. I'm not a Christian.
Sick. Yeah, you're a Brendan.
Here you go. There's the meme.
Uh,
You're welcome, Kobe.
He sent it to
Wait,
me
I don't
directly.
get the meme?
Do you want here? I'm sending because I don't want other people
want
to
know what the fuck you're talking
Here,
about.
I'm going. There you go. There's the meme.
That one's a bit of a stretch. Not gonna lie, that one's a bit of a stretch, folks. Can't see the look on my face, but it's a grimace. It's not a laugh.
Aha.
Thank you.
All right, back on topic with an awesome wave by LJ. Kobe, what you hopped in here because you said you love this album.
I do.
What makes you love it?
I really like this album. Listening to it a couple more times, I think love is a strong word for it, but do you think there's a lot of I listened to it a couple times. I've just kind of been re-listening to it as many times as my body will allow me to listen without wanting to stop. But I listened to it. I think everything you guys are saying are very true. It wears its indie-ness on its sleeves. I was actually at one point, because I was really bored in my class today, I was looking at the Rate Your Music section of it, just seeing what I thought. And someone said it's aggressively indie in his voice and the way he's like hitting certain words, and absolutely true. And you can really, really hear it on a song like Breeze Blocks. Very, very heavy on him. That's like the most pop this album gets, and that's not a bad thing. I think Breeze Blocks, in my opinion, I don't know if you guys agree, I think Breeze Blocks is the crowning jewel of this album. I think the album in a lot of ways is built around the essence of Breeze Blocks. But regardless, I think a fun album. I think the more you listen to it, the more you realize the production is pretty dense in some spots. Like, I listened to it, and every time I listened to it, I found a different element of the production that I liked and found to be interesting. I think, to put a long and short of it, this album is really good. Its denouement is absolutely Breeze Blocks at track 4. Not that there's not good tracks after that. You brought up Matilda, which is a later portion of the album, and Matilda is a very good song. But I think Breeze Blocks happens at track 4, and then there's a 3-track come down where you're like, is this still the same album? It's at its best when it's on a song like Breeze Blocks, I think, because I love when pop, indie pop especially, uses an old-fashioned chorus round. I think that's very fun, very folk of them. But yeah, so I dug it. I can see why it would get a bit tedious to listen to, though, because I did start feeling like it was a bit tedious at points, listening to it over and over again. And yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Maybe not about Breeze Blocks being, would you say, the denouement?
The denouement.
I don't even know what that is.
It's the crowning jewel. It's what everything is built around. It's the picture frame moment.
Well, okay, Mr. Fancy Pants over here.
I'm wearing pajama pants. They're not fancy.
I do like Breeze Blocks, like, as a song, I guess. I I really just I mostly like it after. I like the second half of the song. The first half of the song definitely kind of rubs me the wrong way with, as you said, how aggressively indie it is.
Yeah.
But the round chorus, big fan.
Super fun.
For me, my favorite track is probably Tessellate. I do love, like, as far as the chillness of the album goes, I think Tessellate is probably the best song for that. And it, as you said, has really interesting production. And that's kind of what I love about the track. But there's a couple tracks here that end up coming together really well. But then, as you said, there's also a lot of tracks where they're just they're kind of the same old song and dance.
Yeah.
They're it definitely gets kind of repetitive with its style. I do think there are some tracks that somewhat mix it up, like Fitz Pleasure towards the end, which is I'd say a more aggressive sound than most of the other tracks on the album. At least at points. And like I don't know. I mean personally I'd say I enjoy Breeze Blocks the most out of all the songs in the album. I think it's probably the most distinct, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put that.
Just in terms of sound, you have like the dot 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 dot, like that, like banging. It's the kind of sound throughout that I think helps a lot. In making it super
piano chord.
Yeah, making it a super interesting song. I also really like Matilda, even if that's more of a kind of somewhat generic indie song. But it's very nice sounding.
Yeah,
it's very pleasant. I think that's a lot of this album. It's just it's a very pleasant, well-made album.
Matilda is, I felt Breeze Blocks is I think it's the best song on the album. I don't know how hot a take that is in general, but I think it's the best song on the album because it's definitely alt J when it's at its like most complete. It's like the production, while at some points, as you said in the first half, it's a bit not great. The production is pretty clean. Like there was no moments where I thought it's a bit overwhelming or underwhelming. There's nothing that I wanted more of and stuff. It's the best, I think, lyrically. I think conceptually it's the best. I think the round at the end, I don't remember the last time before. I don't know songs in general. I don't know songs besides Breeze Blocks that I've listened to recently that have a round, and I'm really, really, really amped up about this fucking round. So I think it's definitely alt J when it's at its most complete, and then I think Matilda, you brought that up. I think Matilda is alt J using their if that's the term, to its like highest point, because the way he sings it and he croons, the way he says Matilda, it's so nasally and you can almost see the face he's making when he says Matilda, but it really works in favor of the song in my opinion. Like the repetition of it makes it sound good to me, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty tidy little clean little nice album.
It is. Yeah. Personally, I don't think I'll really be going back to this album very often. If it's, I certainly think if you're like into indie, you should check it out. And if it's like on at, I'm somewhere and somebody is playing it, I'm not going to be like, get this shit off. But because it's nice. It's very pleasant. But it, like I said, it's not something I think I really go back to a lot. I definitely do think it's worth a couple listens, a couple tries, maybe if you weren't so into it the first time. But don't force it, I guess. If nobody else really has anything they want to say, I can throw some scores.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else.
Oh, I don't either. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's, like I said, there's definitely a couple singles that I'll keep listening to from this album. Tessellate, Breeze Blocks, Matilda. all very nice. Overall, like I want to say when I first listened to this album, I was probably at like maybe a 6 out of 10. It's definitely moved up. It's like a 7 or so right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it's pretty cool, interesting album. Not like incredible. Certainly not like one of my favorite indie albums or anything, but it's a pretty good, enjoyable album. I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm in a pretty similar boat. The chorus round at the end of Breeze Blocks is an 11 out of 10. Check that shit out. More bands need to do that shit because I fucking love a good chorus round. Very, very folk indie of them. But as a whole, I would say it's a pretty tidy album. It's clean. There's nothing egregiously wrong with it. It can get a bit samey, but if you're only listening to the hits, that's not a big deal. So definitely give it a listen. I would give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you so much
You're welcome.
for that insightful commentary.
I can see the
especially
sincerity.
on the rounds at the end of Breeze Blocks.
I can see the sincerity in the shadows that are your eyes. Look like there's just fucking caverns where your eyes are. You look like a fucking metal album cover.
Ooh.
Yeah, with my RGB lights in the back and the Good, the Bad, the Ugly poster. Metal album cover.
Did you see? Okay, never mind. I was going to make a reference to a tweet that was political, so I'm not going to do that.
Do it.
Nah, go for it.
You see, I don't remember who it was. It was, God, what the hell is her name? She tweeted something and she was like, "Rest in peace to RGB," or something. And then she deleted that tweet and just tweeted RGB, and then she deleted that tweet because she got it wrong twice. It was really funny.
It is unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate.
RBG.
RBG.
Everybody.
Yeah, she was a legend. It is very sad.
Yeah. Well, we're moving on to the movie, The Spirit of the Beehive, or El Espiritu de la Colmena.
Yeah, go off, Brendan. Yeah, give it to him, Brendan.
Yeah, I learned to speak Spanish in high school.
Yeah, Brendan,
let's
go.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
What did you take in fucking high school?
Spanish.
We were in the same Spanish class.
But unlike him, I didn't really learn it, so.
Oh man, you only needed to know enough to be able to watch the telenovela that we
Oh
watched.
my god, it was so good.
Was it?
It was so good.
It was hilarious.
There was this one episode. Ended on a cliffhanger where they're like about to get into a car crash, and then the next episode started, and they just averted the car crash immediately. And it was like, no problem.
It's so funny.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
It was so good. Anyways, yeah, I chose this movie. I'm gonna be honest. I chose this movie because I was listening to this new Ryan Triner album called File Under UK Metaplasm, and it has this song on it called Hypnic Jerks. And Hypnic Jerks, I was like, oh, that's a Spirit of the Beehive album. Spirit of the Beehive being a shoegaze band, which I also learned Hypnic Jerks is actually a band itself. So he probably named it after them and not the Spirit of the Beehive album.
Yeah.
And the Spirit of the Beehive album is actually also probably named after the band. But anyways, the Spirit of the Beehive, I found out was named after this. I don't know if they're actually named after this movie, but I assume they're named after this movie. So I was like, hey, this movie seems pretty good. I'll give it a watch. And we're watching it. So yeah, it's all because of this one song.
Sick.
That's why I found out about this movie.
What was the song called again?
The song is called Hypnic Jerks by Ryan Triner. Check out, if you're into electronic IDM, check out File Under UK Metaplasm, this new album by Ryan Triner. It's some pretty cool, like, experimental dance music.
Hypnic. A hypnic jerk is an involuntary twitch of one or more muscles that occurs as the person is falling asleep. It tends to happen just as the person is transitioning from a wakeful sleep to a sleeping state. Hypnic jerks are a type of involuntary muscle movement called myoclonus. Hiccups are another common form of myoclonus. Sorry, I was
The
looking up.
more you know.
I was looking up. That's not about. That's about nothing. That's actually the full title of the movie.
Yeah,
All right,
Yeah,
sick.
definitely. The movie has nothing to do with that. It does have to do with spirits and beehives, though.
People. Never mind.
What?
Nope, nothing. Don't worry about it.
You
I didn't say anything.
you got it. Don't worry.
Yeah. I was
This
gonna,
movie, I want to say it's in Spanish. It takes place in Spain, and I love that because Spain is beautiful.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's in Spanish, so be prepared to read some subtitles.
yeah.
I want to say I really enjoyed this movie. It feels very slow. It kind of feels, I guess, like you're kind of just wandering around in like a garden or a forest or something like that, and you're seeing. How I interpret this movie is our main character is a little girl named Anna, and she is faced with death, sort of over and a bunch of little short vignettes of her life, and the movie is really about her, I think, trying to understand death, and you can I think that's up for interpretation, but that's certainly my interpretation of it, and the way the movie goes about doing that is it can be a little bit disconnected at first, but I think once you arrive at the end of the movie, I think it overall creates like a very powerful message, I'd say.
Okay. This is interesting. Do you know any of the historical context behind the movie?
I have none of the historical context.
Okay, so the film is specifically set, or it was made in like 1973, or it was released
Yeah,
in
I know the
1973. It's set during I forget.
I know it's set during the Spanish Civil War.
It's right.
Yes.
and
It's
you
right
see
at
that.
the end of the Spanish Civil War. It's when Franco, I believe. Yeah, Franco is the dictator of the.
Yes. So there's definitely I can understand the ideas about death, and I definitely think that works into it. But one thing that definitely comes up. Thank you, Wikipedia, for your. um, I Wikipedia is useful. Okay,
It is.
just good.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of scholarly journals put into a
I'll,
database. I don't know why they don't like it.
yeah. I'll just read like the first paragraph on the symbolism part. It says the film is rife with symbolism, and the disintegration of the family's emotional life can be seen as symbolic of the emotional disintegration of the Spanish nation during the Civil War. Which I feel like to some extent you can definitely read into that with how the daughter becomes very disconnected by the end of the film. Like, she is emotionally very distant from everyone else, partially due to the death she witnesses. And there's definitely also, there's a recurring motif of beehives throughout the movie, which, again, thank you, Wikipedia. The beehive itself has symbolism not only for the audience, but also for one of the characters, Fernando the father, and the beehive symbolizes the same thing for both parties: the inhumanity of fascist Spain. It's you can see this, like, Fernando specifically often writes about this, how the beehive is like mindless, basically. And you have this these repeating patterns of like honeycomb. You have it on the windows of the house and such, and it kind of I feel is supposed to represent kind of the like the mindlessness of it, and more so how under this fascist dictatorship, it basically, you have like structure essentially. You have these very structured but very repetitive and bland like systems essentially. There's no way for you to like express yourself. You're just like a worker essentially.
It's very impersonal.
Yes. And there's no way, and that like oppression means there's no way for you to like be like different essentially. You are just like a cog in the machine. So yeah, I definitely think the death plays into that, with how the Civil War itself affects people and kind of it tears the family apart. Not really tears them apart, but it definitely makes them a lot more emotionally distant. And that's somewhat also shown in how the mother and the father are like basically never seen together. And the only time they really talk to each other is when she gives him his hat for work. And because you have that scene where the camera just kind of lingers on the mother while she's in bed, trying to sleep, and then Fernando walks in, and he sits down on the bed, and like you never see them interact ever. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to say you brought up the shot, but I just want to sort of extend that into the cinematography of this movie. I am in love with. So many shots look amazing. The way the camera moves, I think, is really, really fantastic, and also the transitions. I love the transitions throughout the entire movie. The ones, the transitions from like day to night, where you're like, the first time it happened, there was just like a still shot of the house, and it just fades from day to night, unstill of a still shot of the house. I was like, and I thought it looked really good. How you see like the lights coming on in the house, and then it's all of a sudden it's dark outside. And another scene that really stuck out to me was the two girls running across the field to the house in the middle of the field, and how it just fades them at different points in the field. I just thought those scenes, like, I thought the transitions just looked fantastic throughout the entire movie. So want to shout out that.
I 100% agree with you. I think it's I think you guys pretty much covered everything that needed to be said about it. The historical context of it, especially. I think the cinematography is really pretty. I think there are points where it can feel a bit meditative. I will admit that when I first watched this movie, or when I watched this movie, I should say, I didn't know much of the context. I tried to give it a look before I went into it, just kind of like get myself acclimated with the region at the time, so I knew roughly what was happening, but not like major historical context. What I will say, however, is that it's not a this is probably something that people know, but it's not a mistake that the movie they're shown and the reference directly to Frankenstein, because Frankenstein is a romantic novel by Mary Shelley. It was written in the 1800s. I don't remember the exact time, but it's a romantic era novel about how the outside world poisons of young people, and how, in a way, science can kind of go too far, because it's about that sort of idea that the romantics are very keen on, how the natural world is the way things should be, and human influence is what poisons. That's what Frankenstein is pretty much about, a romantic, which is what Mary Shelley was. So it's not a coincidence that this movie about a country now in the adolescent phase of its new reality, being Franken. I don't know how it would be Franco regime. The innocence of it all sort of fading into a really gross, grimy reality, which Brendan touched upon with the reality of death that is always around her. It's not a coincidence that she is very directly impacted Frankenstein. She kind of sees herself as the little girl in Frankenstein, but in a way she also sees herself as Frankenstein. That shot towards the end, again, another nod to the photography, where she's looking in the water and she sees herself into Frankenstein. In a way, she represents Spain as a whole, but she also represents that innocence of it all. You know?
I don't. Yeah, you brought up that she represents Spain. I don't want to say she represents Spain, but she represents the people of Spain.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah,
think.
okay. That's a good way to put that. Yeah.
I do want to also mention, while we're talking about more symbolism, there's a scene where you have all the girls except for Anna, the main girl, and all the girls are like playing around this like bonfire. It's happening and jumping over it, and then later we see Anna, just kind of slowly playing with like the remains of that fire, and it definitely leads me to think that I forget her name, the other girl,
Isabel.
I
Spanish.
feel like in comparison to Anna, Isabel's kind of like, basically, if Anna is like the people of Spain, Isabel are like the nationalists, essentially the people who are in favor of the fascist government. So you have basically the fascist like playing with fire and burnt, like happy with the destruction that is going on, and then the people of Spain being left with like what remains of that, essentially.
Yeah. It's definitely very interesting.
Yeah.
I think that there's a line. One of the lines that really stuck out to me from the movie was when Anna asks her mother, like, "Are spirits good or bad?" And her mother is like, "For good girls they're good, and for bad girls they're bad." And how I'm not 100% sure of like what the spirit represents, but as far as the Spain metaphor goes, but I feel like the spirit represents sort of the how I want to say this, but like just how the general, I guess, like, I guess you could call it karma, but like for let's say like the fascists, eventually the people of Spain were fuck. Oh, never mind. It's not happening.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's a very good. It's a very good movie. It's heralded by many to be like a master and a master of Spanish cinema. And knowing the context of it, it is definitely a necessary film. It's a watershed moment in Spanish history, Spanish cinematic history. With what limited knowledge I have of it, it's very apparent as to why I think that. And it's very well founded. It's a bit meditative, especially for someone like me who does not know a lot about the region. I think you can sometimes get lost in the whole thing. But this was also released at a time in 1973. The Franco regime was coming to an end.
Technical difficulties. Sorry.
The director had to find a way to put forth a movie expressing beliefs without direct saying, "Hey, this is," it's like all great rebel movies. It puts it right under the noses of the upper classes, and it doesn't explicitly say anything, so you can't get them on it.
Yeah.
Very, very perfect for that. It's well done. It can be a bit meditative. There were certainly points where I found myself starting to doze, but that's not a comment on the film, a comment on me. So, it's tough that way, I think.
Yeah. Are we getting to conclusions?
Yeah, we certainly can.
All right. I really enjoyed this film. I think it's a very interesting piece of cinema, as long as you're willing to look into the meaning behind it and also probably do a bit of research beforehand on it, just to get a better grasp of the time period and what things are like kind of symbolizing. I will say I probably would have enjoyed this more if I wasn't thinking about the election the entire time. Um, but I still think it's very good. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. If I rewatch it, it'd probably move up quite a bit.
Yeah. I want to say, I don't think to get a lot out of this movie, I don't think you have to look into the background. I think if you just look at it on sort of the surface level, I still think there's value in it. However, looking further and deeper into it, certainly you can understand a little bit more and get layers of just how complex this movie can be. For me, I definitely enjoyed it. I like how it represents, even like on the surface, it represents childhood, and the opening scene with like all the childhood drawings of the across the opening credits. It's very, as Kobe was saying, it's very meditative at points, and I don't know. I think it's a sweet movie. I thought it was gonna be more depressing than it was. It is definitely depressing at points, but I don't know. I do think it's all like you said. It's a necessary movie, and I would definitely recommend it. I'm at like an 8 to an 8.5 on the movie.
Yeah, I kind of screwed myself because I gave all my final thoughts section before this. Everything that was just said is absolutely true. It could benefit you to maybe look into the context, but I understand why you wouldn't want to do that. And going in blind, you certainly still find stuff to appreciate of this movie, as Brendan did. Yeah, I think there were definitely points where I kind of watched it and I was like, I don't know what the hell this movie is trying to say. But there were other points where I was like, oh, it's really delightful. Cinematography is great. The direction is pretty good. A very necessary film. And I think I'm probably better for having watched it, maybe. But yeah, I'm at an impasse with rating this movie because on an enjoyment level, I would give it probably a 7.5. But I think because of just how good a movie it is, it's probably so. Tentatively, I will say 7.5. Fully aware of it, that is a personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
That about wraps it up for this week. Next week we have the album for next week is going to be Margot and the Nuclear So-and-So's album Not Animal, their 2008 album, I believe. And the movie is going to be this movie called Bandits. I forget to look up the director again. God damn it. And it's 2001. Barry Levinson.
King.
Okay. Yeah. Got Bruce Willis in it, so.
Oh,
What more do you
God.
need?
It's gonna be good.
All right.
We should watch. What's the Bruce Willis movie? Reprisal.
Yeah, Reprisal.
Looper?
Yeah.
Oh, Reprisal. I don't know what we're talking about.
It's Bruce Willis. His
Break it
acting
down
career
for
has-
me.
No, we have to watch Sleepless one of these weeks.
We will
They got
watch
tea.
Sleepless.
We will watch Sleepless, and just say they got tea the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have. You guys want to say some words?
Joe.
Okay.
Joe, you got something?
No.
Take a deep breath. Pray God it's all over soon. Yeah, I don't know. Be a kind individual. Be a kind individual and be a good person, and take into account where you are currently standing on a social level, because don't have the same abilities to come to terms with the election that you will, is how I'll say it. And I won't go deeper than that. But be cognizant of the world around you. That's what I'll say.